You're listening to the Mark Bradford Alchemy for Life podcast.
A surprisingly philosophical discussion. I am here with royalty today, and I'm very pleased to have him. I am here with Master of Illusion, Sovereign King of all avian life, Hakan Berg, the King of Berg. Welcome.
Thank you. If it moves, it lives. In your face. Thank you for that introduction. Royalty. I have to. That's nice. So, how are you, my friend? How are you?
I'm very well. It's so nice to have you. And so I broke my rule of normally asking people who they are and what they do because I was so thrilled about that introduction. So now that we know who you are, would you mind telling us what you do?
Yeah, I'm a comedian magician. I've been doing comedy for as long as I know, or trying to do comedy is the way I look at it, because you never know. It's just every day is just trying. Every show is just trying. So, and that's what I like about it. So I'm a comedian magician, but the creativity part of that is what I like, I think. And comedy, as we know, is it's a lot of work, and magic too. And you can do anything. It's like, So that's what I am.
Well, that's right. It's a medium of creativity, and I think you're excellent at it. And I think you've doubled the difficulty in yourself, because it's one thing to do magic, it's another thing to do comedy, but it's really difficult to put those things together and pull it off. And I think you do that quite well. And I'm strongly suggesting that anyone listening to this definitely look up your performances, because you're focusing on trying to be funny while you're also focusing on making a trick work. And there's a lot of behind the scenes things to make that happen.
Yeah, that's true, and it's nice that it comes out that way, that you see it that way, because it's been a long journey for me to get to there. Because I had a rule when I start doing magic comedy that I would never do a trick, never have an effect, right? I would never do something that worked, because I thought that was in a way like cheating. If you're so funny, you don't need to have magic effects. Like Tommy Cooper, for example, he was so funny, nothing worked, and it was just funny. So I took away all the chances of me doing magic, and I did that for over 10 years, maybe 15 years. I had the rule of never buying a magic trick, never learn a magic trick I could do magic. I practiced magic when I was younger, but I thought that I seen so many comedy magicians not being. This is no critique to no one, but it's just my opinion that I had, that they were not funny enough and they didn't do good as good magic. So they were something in between, and they in a way cheated with comedy and cheated with magic. So I focused on just the comedy and I skipped the magic. I just used that as an excuse to be the magician. But then, yes, I tried to get the effects. And this is a true story. When I realized that, holy shit, I have to get more real effects, because I bombed. I did a show with a friend, and it went really bad. Like,
oh, no.
11 years ago. And in the car, I said to my friend, like, now I will start searching for better material, because I need help from the material to do even the comedy better, because they didn't think I was funny at all at that show. And the magic was just bad. So it was two bad things at the time. So it was like in the car, I remember exactly where it was. And it was 11 or 12 years ago. And I said, I will try to find effects now.
Okay. So that demonstrates exactly what we were talking about, is that it's a harder route because you have to be good at both. And I think what you're saying also is that people who are good at neither try to combine them as well, because they're trying to cover their poor magic with humor. They're trying to cover their poor humor with magic. And you have to, your show, at least your performances show that you're actually very good at both.
Thank you. It's hard for me to judge that, but yeah, it is my aim, my goal to do that, because, as you say, I've seen a lot of magicians that like cheat, as I said before, and what you said now. They are not good at magic or good at comedy, and they try to do, and two bad things doesn't do one good thing. And this is not me bragging, it's just my
Oh no.
aim, and it's my what I like to see. I really really like comedy magic, when it is like really good comedy and really good magic for me. And also, a lot of magicians don't think that exists. They think that every comedy magic has to be shitty, but it's not the way it has to be, because it can has have the double effect of, because it's about surprise. Comedy is even more about surprise than magic, because it is not funny if you don't have the surprise. It's called the punchline, or the gag, but it's about surprise. And magic is of course about surprise, but if you vanish something, it is gone, even if it doesn't have the effect in the spectator, like, oh, this is real magic, but it is effect. But when you have a joke or a punchline that isn't good, you don't have the effect, and then it's nothing. It's like that for me. That's why I think that comedy is even more surprising, even harder to do.
Yes, exactly. Because comedy isn't necessarily universal. If you make something disappear, everyone gets what that is. But
Exactly.
comedy is
Exactly.
subjective, and
It's like painting before the audience. I've been working a
mm,
lot with the musicians, singers, and that stuff. They When they do a song, as you say, a magic trick is a magic trick. No matter if you like it or not, it's still a trick. But it doesn't create magic all the time. So in that sense, it's the same as comedy, because the feeling of magic might not be there anyway. And in a way, music has to create the feeling of magic too. But a song is a song, no matter what you think. It's music, it's a song. But when you do comedy and it's just bad, it is not comedy. It's nothing. So yeah,
right,
it's
exactly. Yeah,
what
people get the rhythm of a song. They know there's a chorus. They know something's going to
yeah.
repeat, so they have an expectation. While if you're doing comedy, they don't know how long the joke is going to be. They don't know if what kind of joke it is, and so forth. And speaking of that, you mentioned Tommy Cooper, and also I know you've also mentioned John Cleese in your performances,
Hmm.
and that you appreciate his particular brand of humor
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
oh yeah. Yeah, if you don't do that, you it's like saying that Beatles are not good, or Elvis, or
Right.
they John Cleese is the Elvis of comedy. So and for me, Peter Sellers also,
Oh yes,
growing up,
yes.
and
And,
that is the my idols in a way.
well, and I think it shows because your particular brand, humbly speaking, from my viewpoint, there are aspects of almost not, I don't want to say bumbling, but there's an aspect of things where you it looks like you've lost control when in fact it's quite the opposite. You are in complete control of what's happening, but by looking like you've lost control, it's even more impressive.
Yeah, it's easier to hit them with the surprise when
Right.
you. And for me, even if you're a serious magician, or I think that humbleness, in a way, that you don't try to show something better than what it is. You downplay it. And I learned that many years ago, that make a little thing big and make big things small, so to
Hmm.
say, like, so it
Interesting.
hits them even harder. You fool around with something. I have my sponge doves, and I play with them like for all too long, and it's just stupid. But then when I do like a newspaper that gets restored, it's just like, what? Whoa, whoa, shit! What happened? Like,
Right.
that should come like a hit in the face. Like, so I don't like when you lose your humbleness in trying to underline how difficult it is. Or but just, if it's difficult, try to perform it like it's easy. It's like That's my thinking around it.
Oh, absolutely. And I can cite an example. I won't say the person's name, but you were on Penn and Teller, and your performance with the rope was absolutely fantastic. And the performance was such that you were sort of losing control while you were also singing at the same time. And there's a magician who did things with coins, and the entire time he was cocky. He couldn't have been more cocky, and it was part of his act. His shtick was to be this super cocky coin magician, and it just turned me off because I just thought, okay, you're super great at what you do, but I can't connect with you because people have flaws, and it's just like when you write characters in fiction, if they don't have flaws and they don't have an arc, then you can't take the journey with them.
No, exactly. You can identify with them. And I think also I've been thinking a lot about this just recent, like how big to do to connect, as you say, to connect 100% with an audience, that they are a part of you and you are a part of them. It is something that is so big and complicated because it's so easy. It's just, it has to be pure. It has to be so direct. And for me, that is more important than the trick, than the joke. It's the connection between you and the audience. And as you say, it's the details in what they like and don't like, how they can identify with the person. And it is so complicated. So it's a whole life in itself, but it's so easy because the only thing it does and should do is get the audience to let go of everything else and just for 5 minutes go into your world with you, and they are also doing the work. And it's no, for me, it's I realize that the simple normal clown is the biggest thing you can do in entertainment. It's after 25 years, I just realized that this is the coolest thing you can do on earth.
Interesting. I like that you said that they do the work, that because there is. In fact, I had a conversation with someone just today about that, how you expect your audience, whether they're your readers or your viewers or what have you, there's a certain amount of participation that they do, and what you need to do is reward them. So if you're writing a story, there needs to be a payoff with them keeping track of clues and things. And if a performance, there needs to be a payoff of them also keeping track of what it is you're doing. And I think that your performances are exactly like that, where the more you pay attention, the more you get out of it.
That's really nice to hear, and it's a good. I like that point of view, like perspective of seeing at it. That if you come along with me and trust me, you will get even more. And
Exactly.
also that goes the other way. Like, okay, and I will get more from you because if I put more energy into this, more thoughts, more humbleness, more, I will get more from you. This is a relationship. It's like being in love for 5 minutes. um, and it sounds but it is. And also you should respect it, even if I don't know if the people listen to this what they do, if they are in the business or just like to see magic and comedy, but you should respect good entertainment and good comedy when you see it, and you should seek for it. It shouldn't be like, yeah, whatever, I saw a magician on our corporate thing or whatever. You should seek for it. You should look for it as you do with food or music or whatever it is. Look for good comedy and good magic because you can't get that somewhere else. It's big.
It is. I think those are words to live by. I mean, you're saying, respect and humility, those are really good words to live by. And that's absolutely right. To be able to appreciate what you're seeing, to know that, especially if you can't do it and someone else can, to see just the effort. And I think I see that all the time. Everything I look at, I see the effort that went into it. I mean, whether it's someone and how they're dressing and so forth, and or it's an act, or it's a performance, or it's a book, or what have you, you can see the effort that was put into it. I mean, even if somebody serves you a dish, you know that they didn't have to do the little dribble of this and that on the side and whatever, but they did it in such a way that it was very presentable.
Yeah. Yeah, and we should, if you're able to see that and appreciate those things, like as you say, that little thing or that little lemon, tiny squeeze of lemon on that salmon or whatever it is, if you are the winner, if you can enjoy that. if you can enjoy like the magic there is, because magic is that thing. Like if someone gives you that extra, I say that what is magic? It's just to get something extra. It's just more than you expected, something that you could not like foresee. It's more than you thought would happen. And that is not just, oh, a magic trick. Sometimes, as you say, a dish, a song, a bucket of flowers to your partner, whatever, or just a compliment or a hi to a stranger can be more magic than any magic trick. Like,
Oh, absolutely. And in parallel with that is what you were talking about with comedy, with a joke, a punchline, if you will, because you take someone down a road that they think is going to be mediocre, and then suddenly something amazing and wonderful happens.
yeah, yeah, and and also comedy is a part in our life because it's usually you laugh at things, and for me it's a drama structure. On almost everything that's funny is a drama in a way, someone trying to do something but fails, or it doesn't go the way they think, or so it is just drama put on the edge. So we if we can like put drama on the edge, we can also laugh at things that are in our life that is not so funny. Like, oh shit, I have no money, or oh shit, and the car broke down, and I got like ditched by my girlfriend. Oh, this is funny. It's just too much. It would be funny in a movie. You would laugh at it. So sometimes you could also like, if you're able to see that, I think you can appreciate the drama because it is a part of life. And all comedy that I like is just a reflection of life. As you said before, when they can identify with you and they see, okay, he's funny, he's a bit like me, I laugh at him or her because I can identify with them. That is, so in a way, art or magic or at least comedy unite people to say that we have these problems. I have the same problems that you. I try to be better than I am. I try to look better than I am, and I fail. As like the same as you,
Right.
I fail. Like, so it is so, it's so much with it, with comedy. And what I said before, like I meant in a way that don't take laugh for granted. Try to seek it out. Try to find the good comedy movies. Try to find the good comedy magazines, or go to a club to see a comedian. Look at Steve Martin's early things. Look at Peter Sellers' The Pink Panther. Whatever it is, don't. I sometimes I feel like people just I laugh sometimes. Yeah, accidentally I laugh at someone at work, or I turn the TV on and something is funny. Try to seek for the funny. Try to make a rule of, holy shit, when did I laugh the last time? Yeah, it was a week ago or two. Let's try to find something funny now.
Right. And I think what you sort of touched on too is a vulnerability. And I think I've said, any no relationship, whether it's business or personal, can really go very far unless the parties are vulnerable. And I think what you're saying is that if you allow yourself to be vulnerable with someone to make you laugh, they can make you laugh a lot more versus you putting up a wall and saying, yeah, okay, great, ha ha ha, I get it. Versus going, no, I'm kind of buying into this drama. I'm kind of buying into this. And it's just like a story or a movie where you suspend belief and you kind of say, okay, I'm ready to kind of feel what the main character's feeling and their hopes and dreams and their sadness and so forth, because I do want to be vulnerable and I do want to feel this. So I do think people get so much more out of something if they are vulnerable, whether it is like a relationship or it is even watching you on stage.
I like this. This is completely how I feel like, because when I go in on stage, my job is to show my throat so they can slit it if they want. They can kill me. And I just go out there and I show that it's okay. You can do that, or you can come along and trust me, and we will have fun. But you can't kill me, and that has happened. But and my job is to go out there as the clown and being fearless. And that's why I say it's the coolest job in the world, because you're more of a rock star than any rock star. because you go out there and say, you can kill me, but please trust me. And as you say, open up your heart and come with me. And we laugh at silly things, and we look at things with the distance, so we can laugh at it. And we laugh with people we've never seen before, and we'll feel absolutely safe at that time, because you cannot laugh if you feel threatened. That's impossible. So that's what I mean, because it's so huge. It's so huge when you get an audience to laugh, because it's not just that they're laughing, they are fucking living as most as they can do at that time. It's bigger than anything else, because
Right.
as you say, they are experiencing it all, because they let all defense down and just laugh.
Right.
So it's almost like being an innocent kid again. Like I'm 2 years old again, and I don't know about the bills that I haven't paid, or my whatever it is, like, or the job I'm gonna lose, or whatever it is, or the pain I have. I'm just 2 years old, and I'm just living 100% right now, and that's because of you. And that doesn't have to be me; it can be anyone. But as you say, it's about trust, and it's about getting that trust, and that trust you get through trusting them yourself. And that's why also what we said before, they are doing the work. If I go into an audience and I show, trust me, trust me, trust me, and then it goes the other way around, now I trust you, now I can be even more silly, I can give even more of myself, because now I trust you. So and it always starts with trusting. That's the whole thing. If you want to succeed with the relationship, it starts with trust. If I go in on stage, a lot of artists go in on stage, try to do what they do, but they cannot give in until they get something. But if you're good, and if you're pure and also a bit gutsy, you start with giving. Here I am, I give, 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 give. Now you give back. So you don't wait for getting anything, you start by giving.
Exactly. Someone needs to take the first step, and it's you up there in front
I'm
of.
paid for doing that.
Right.
I'm paid for doing that, and that's what my whole aim is. My job. I do the first step. I give. I do. I take the first risk in a way.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the trust factor too, about how you can't laugh if you don't trust, because that's actually what we believe the origin of laughter is. That laughter is not just thinking something is funny. Laughter is sort of a communication between with a group, and that's why
Yeah.
typically like the boss of a company will make a joke and everyone will laugh at it. They don't think it's funny. They're all saying, oh, everything's okay. And it's sort of like the lead wolf looking over the mountain and barking back to them and saying everything's cool. We're all safe together as a pack. And then all the pack makes noise together, which is why you can watch a movie on Netflix in your home and go, oh, ha, ha, ha. But you could have seen the same movie in a theater and everyone's laughing, and now you're having a great time because you're immersed in the audience because everyone else liked this. Well, I like this too. I feel comfortable to laugh because all these people are laughing.
Yeah, they say that you're 30 times more likely to laugh with other people. In the, as you say, in the theater, but for me, I realized this some years ago, that I got the question, did your your parents in show business, or how was it? For me, I think it was exactly that comedy, no way. My father was
A
a
sailor,
sailor and a lumberjack, and my mother was a caretaker.
caretaker.
Yeah, exactly. They did nothing with show business. But what we did and what I got was, it was a quite dramatic upbringing. Was We were three brothers, and it was a lot of fighting and everything. But when we laughed, I know that I felt like, yes, everything is fine now. My parents are fine. They are not arguing. Nothing is wrong. They are laughing. Everything is fine. So I think that was the seed for me to realize that laughter is the pure guarantee that it's fine. It's also in a relationship. If you're with a partner and you in the car and you're laughing, you know everything is fine. She's not mad or he's not mad. I'm fine. We're laughing, and also we are in the moment because we are laughing. So it is really it's a lot about trust.
Yeah, and studies have shown that it actually takes more to get someone to truly think you're funny and laugh at you than to be attracted to you. So it's actually a step up from being considered attractive, believe it
Of
or not.
course,
Even though,
that's why I do it. Because,
yeah, very
it's
good because you're a handsome man. That's right. That's right.
no, it's no, but yeah, and also that shows from just if you ask people a question, what's the most important thing for creating a relationship? Yeah, to
Right.
someone is funny but I think it's not just that of course not, as you said right now, that it's not just about the laughter, it's also about the to feel safe, to feel
Mhm.
safe that someone is so safe so they can try to be funny and also see that you are funny and relaxed, and there's no pretend, and it's you go beneath the shallowness of the looks or of the wrapping, right?
Mhm.
And you see, okay, you are, because it's also you feel safe, but you really have to be present also to be able to laugh or make someone laugh. So it's also the presence, but that's maybe goes together with also feeling safe. You feel so safe, so you can take down the safety net and just be. So this is big things,
It is.
and it's big things also for me, who is a comedian, and people who work on that side. But it as big for anyone just to be able to laugh or maybe make someone else laugh, or and also, as I said before, sometimes we just have to realize that, oh shit, it was a week ago since I laughed. What's the problem? Why?
Hmm.
Why? It's also a signal or a sign that something might be wrong, right?
Right, exactly. It could not only be an environment, it could also just be that you've put up so many walls even to yourself that you won't allow yourself to just laugh. And I had a very I had a very telling moment. I think it was a few months ago, or it might have been further from that, where we had the lockdowns and all that stuff, where there was all this isolation. And I remember I had leftovers that I was so looking forward to having for lunch, and I went
Hmm.
into the refrigerator, but it had been kind of perched precariously. And I opened the door, and I was so hungry, and I was so looking forward to it, and it just fell right out, and it fell the absolute worst way possible, and just went splat. The container opened, and everything went on the floor, and I just stared at it, and I just started laughing. I laughed hysterically because there was
Yeah,
nothing else to do. I could have cried, but I laughed because I
yeah,
thought the absurdity. It was like a punchline. It was the absurdity
yeah.
of what had happened, and I think it's so important to just be able to do that. And I think it's such a release if people would just laugh, like you said, just laugh and release it instead of just putting it in and penting it up inside and just becoming more and more angry or bitter or what have you.
Yeah, and yeah, that is one part of it, and in that thing with the food happening, it's what I said before, because it was the drama at its peak, because it was exactly the thing you did not want to happen. It was like
Right.
an earthquake in a way. It was the worst thing that could happen. That's why it became funny, because if it would have been less tragic, it wouldn't have been funny, right? Just been like, oh, it was not, I didn't get, it was too little, so I need more food. It's not as funny,
Right.
because, or it dropped and I could eat it, but when you drop it and it's on the dirty floor or in the dog food container or whatever, it's
Right.
funnier because it's just by in your fucking face.
Right.
uh, it's and But what I mean also is that be able to laugh at things, of course, but also when we haven't laughed, as you said, but maybe what's wrong? What am I depressed, or what's the thing, or is it the people I hang around with, or what's the thing?
Right.
So you can read a lot of things. Uh, we call it laugh per minute. Laugh per minute is a comedian
LPM.
thing, but you can also, as anyone, say like laugh per life. Like when did I laugh the last time? And if you haven't laughed for a while, just try to find it. Try to look at that nice comedy movie you super like, or it's like food or anything that we like. If you haven't had it for a while, seek it, find it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And yeah, I think what you've really touched on is something very interesting and very very perceptive in that, we talk about self-love and self-care and all that stuff, but I you almost never encounter someone talking about that and they say, yeah, go out and laugh. Like they'll say, give yourself a bubble bath, do this, do that, make
yeah,
sure you have a good meal,
yeah.
relax and so forth, go on vacation, but they don't say seek out laughter. And I think
No,
it's such a
that's exactly what I mean, because they don't see, look at your favorite comedian, or they don't say that, or look at your favorite comedy movie, or read the favorite comedy book. It is totally what do you say in English? Neglected. Like it's like, as you say, you can say anything, go to a spa or do this or and like, but everyone knows that if you laugh, so you cry, you feel good. So maybe
Mhm.
we should put that in the equation also. Like, okay, you need this to feel good. When did you laugh the last time? Okay, maybe you should try to find that now. Maybe we should just laugh. Or in a relationship, it's even more important. Maybe we should do something fun. We should go and see a comedy movie or a comedian, or just do it. Just so, yeah, that's because I see the power of comedy. When I when
Mhm.
I when I see comedy and when I do comedy, and when the power, there's nothing that can beat it. Nothing. And as you say, it's like it doesn't even come on a list on important things to do to feel good.
Mhm.
Like, no, you have to do this and do that. Yeah, um, yeah. So now
Yeah.
we've done the deep talk about comedy. Maybe you can ask me something specific about something you've seen, or something, if you want to hear something more detailed about. Not so I really like these kind of philosophy things around laughter, or life in general, because laughter for me is the pinnacle or highlight of our life in a way. So yeah.
Okay, well, if to take a 90-degree turn, then, as per your request, then when did you take a turn towards the birds? When did that happen?
Yeah, it was I had a dolphin that I bought, let's say 15 years ago. It was an electrical dolphin
Oh,
that could go around the roof on it. It had a fishing line, so you could fly around the roof. And I bought that for 100 kroners here in Sweden, somewhere in Stockholm. So, and I put that on a stick, and I just put it. I had an assistant just come in with it, so it touched my head and irritated me, like, well, shit, like a bird. It was a dolphin. It was blue and everything.
okay.
So, and then I was going into this talent show in Sweden 10 or 11 years ago, and I realized a way to disappear that dolphin. Was still a dolphin, but in my head it was a bird. And then I did that trick, like the one where it ends up on my back, right?
Yes.
That was the whole trick that I invented, like with the dolphin at the time. And I said this to my friend, like, I'm gonna do this as the ending of the act, like. And he said, that should be the start of the act. But then I have no ending. No, but then you have to find a better ending, something bigger
Mm.
and something else. And that's when I came up with the big bird that I produce at the end of the act.
Hmm.
So, and then I painted the dolphin white, and it's still a dolphin if you look at it. And some people say it looks like a dolphin. Uh, and I think it looks nice. They
Mm.
are electrical doves you can buy, but I don't think they look as funny. They look mean in a way. So I still have the dolphins. Um, and then I took that to, of course, took it to a magician that do magic with doves. And then further on, I come up with that I wanted to distance my character from myself. Almost like what I said with Peter Sellers in the Pink Panther. Peter Sellers
Mhm.
in the Pink Panther is that character.
Right.
So I wanted to create a character that I dress up as, in a way. It's not Hakan Berg. It's a character. I'm not with. in that scene. I'm the actor.
Okay.
So that's when I came up with the name, the King of Birds. And then because of the name and everything, I just put more birds in, and I'm still doing that. Like it's only fake birds, but he pretends that it's real birds because he thinks that the audience doesn't know if it's fake. Like they know, they won't see, like exactly what Peter Sellers would have done.
Right.
Like, no, 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 no. Trust me, they don't know it's fake. They won't see that. They are not smart. That's so smart. So let's do this now. So that's how I came up. So it's, for me, it's just the fake part of it is the main thing. The birds is not the thing. It's just it's that it is fake that is the thing.
Ah, okay. Okay, gotcha. It's the disconnect. It's the inside joke that the audience already knows. They know something that you think they don't, or like the character doesn't think that they know.
Yeah, yeah. Because he fake it so much, so he's like, if it moves, it lives. So
Right.
of course they has to live because they are moving, right? So don't question it so much. It's, come on, they are living, they are moving.
Even though he slips up and says the batteries will die and it'll stop moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
and it's great because you have that running joke and the running. So now you're already kind of at an advantage. You already have a running joke with the audience, and then you do everything underneath that.
Yeah, and I think that in a way, as we talked about earlier in the philosophy part,
Mhm.
it's also that they see, as I said, then like they feel that he's pretending to be. They say that comedy is the gap between what you want to be, what you want to be, and what you really are. That's the comedy gap. So, and that's what I like with Peter Sellers and John Cleese in Fawlty Towers and Mr. Bean, or that's the kind of comedy I like, when you try to come out as something, but you are just, I wouldn't say loser, but you're at least more loser than you want to portray. So, and that is generally what we laugh at. Like someone tried to show something and it fails. Like they are not as good as they, and we feel that way. That's what we all, at least what I think, we try to, like, oh, here I am, everything. Like when you fall, for example, and you just jump up and say, oh, I didn't fall, nothing happened, nothing here, nothing here.
Right.
That's the thing. That's what happening. No, I didn't fall. Why didn't you just laugh at it and show, holy shit, I just fell? It's
Right.
super slippery here.
Right. Yeah, and it goes back to the trust thing too, and not to go back to the philosophy. So, but if you start out on the foot that you're starting out on, you've already disarmed the audience, and they don't have any shields up, as opposed to starting out being really cocky and saying, "Look at what I can do." So they're already dropped their shields, and they're ready to just laugh because they're playing along with you at this character that you're portraying.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also want to. Sometimes you can do a character and people feel that, oh, he's pretending to be angry, or he's pretending to be whatever he's pretending to be. I like them to really believe that, like,
Hmm.
no, he's pissed, or that really went bad, or that is like, I really want them to believe that what
Yeah.
I want them to believe, I want them to feel, even if they can, like, I don't think he really thinks that we think they are real birds, but they have to. It cannot be pretend. It has to be real, right?
Right.
It has to be something that they because when they buy the pretend, they have not the shield, but it is a layer in between. I think that, okay, he is pretending. They should not know if I'm pretending, or
Right.
so it is in a way, yeah, it is play, and as you say, it's like, okay, come on, come along and play with me and believe this, but I want the effect that they react to it as it's for real.
Yeah, with sincerity. Right.
Yeah. It is because that is, for me, if it would be too much fake, like saying that I'm just pretending to, then you are not as brave. Because if you are brave, you do your thing, and you're like, I do my thing and you have to buy it. So that's why it's rock and roll again. It's like You don't say that, I pick a card and then I'm going to pretend that I lost it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're good, you make them pick a card and you have them believe that you failed.
Yes.
I don't want them to say that he's just pretending that he lost it. That's not the go for me. It's like, nope, I don't want to do that because that's just silly. If I want them to believe that I lost control.
And I think that works really well, and I think that's the crux of like good magic versus bad magic, because I see that all the time in someone who is even skilled. And as I said, I also saw you on Penn and Teller's Fool Us, so I do catch a lot of those episodes, and I have seen performers on there that do the bit with, oh, this is I failed or I did this wrong, and it's so obvious that that's their way of getting you to the trick that obviously
Yeah.
they didn't, and it takes everything away. But when you can make someone sort of believe it or believe it that, oh no, this
Exactly.
didn't work, then I think it's just such a better effect. And the effect is the same as the punchline in comedy, where you were like, oh, I didn't expect, oh wow, I didn't expect to be there at all, haha.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that I succeed with that every time. I'm just saying that it is my goal. Because what happens when you pretend like, oh, this was not your card. Oh, shit. Oh, I've lost. Oh. Then they will be like, holy shit, you're like thinking that I'm stupid, right?
Right.
Or what? Like,
No.
because you have to give the audience so much and with so much humbleness, so they don't feel that you really have to overestimate your audience. Like, okay, I could maybe get away with doing it this way, like, oh shit, I lost your card, oh. But I want them to feel something, not think something, as you say, like, I think he knows where the card is because he's pretending that he's lost it. And also sometimes that's for me is not good magic or good comedy, when you are like, yeah, this is funny on paper, or it sounds funny, but I'm laughing because I know it's funny. I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I know it's funny. It's like it should really pull them away, and it doesn't have to be fun, it just have to be real, like
Right.
real. And to make it real, you have to believe it's real, you have to be there, you cannot take anything for granted. Like when I do my shows, I don't know, it's like, yeah, well, you're super funny, as you say, with the Fool Us routine that I do. I'm like, yeah, it was funny maybe at the Fool Us, but I would not know tonight. So it is that that it is so alive. I think that's what I really like with it. So yeah.
And you mentioned on paper, and speaking of on paper, before we started recording, people should know we had a little conversation in which you and I both share something, and that we just are in love with words. And so do you tend to write things down like an outline on paper? Do you kind of act them out and say, okay, this is my routine?
No, the thing is that for me in school, I was really bad at Swedish in my case, English in your case. So I got, no, my confidence in writing was really, really bad. I'm like, I did not like to even hold. I really like to draw. I was good at drawing
Oh,
and creating, and so I rather draw things than to write it. But as you said, we talked about earlier, like I like words now when they are crafted in the same way that the things we talked about, when they are so dense,
yes.
when the words are so good, so it's like looking at a really good painting. Like, this is the effect. It's like a magic trick too, right? You do and you get caught in it, and you get the effect of the text, whatever it is, funny or sad, or something you think about, like a quote. Or love good quotes, like, holy
Yes.
shit, this is the whole life in one quote. Um, so and that has grown on me to, maybe I've got more confidence in writing, because we should also remember, and people listening, it doesn't have to be perfect. it's not about how to spell or use commas or whatever. It's about the essence of what you're saying. It's like you can get someone else to look at the spelling or something, right? But it is the effect of the story, the effect of the piece you show. Um, so I think you should really, and I didn't do that because I mixed it because teachers did that to me. Like you cannot write because you cannot spell. Okay,
Yes.
but that's not the same thing, because writing is creating a story. To be able to spell, there's a lot of people who are able to spell but not write.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we should really know that creating is not you should not make rules out. I hate rules. I hated rules all my life. I could not even write on linear paper because I thought like, oh shit, it's a rule, you have to stick to the lines, right? Or and every rule for me has been a obstacle. It's been just there to annoy me. But I always love to create, if it's writing or drawing or building or just
Yes.
coming up with ideas. And I think that is, if it's something that we could say to the listeners, whoever you are, create. It's not about being perfect or being right. It can be food, it can be music, it can be a text, it can be something you say or do. It nothing is perfect, and if you aim for perfect, you won't do anything. It's like, with that said, I'm a perfectionist too. I try to do things perfect, but I also realize that perfect is what we've been talking about, the philosophy part, like
Hmm.
connecting with people, being in the presence, being, that's perfect. And and the tools to get there, doesn't matter if they are perfect. If it's like the if you can do, let's say if you like can do a dish that's super tasty, it's fine. That dish is super tasty. You're not the chef. You cannot do everything, but you can do that. Or if you can do one magic trick really good, like, holy shit, that magic trick, when you do that, it just like blow people away. That is magic. Then it is as good as David Copperfield, that thing you do. Or, so I think that you should not, I think we overestimate the power of creativity, in a way that we think that any artist that write music or paintings or words or whatever it is, they are perfect, they can do this, so, oh, it's so easy and they can do it. That's not the case.
Hmm.
We are just doing it, and we're trying, and we're guessing, and we're and but also that this, I think, and what was the funniest thing about what I did Britain's Got Talent, or I did this or that? It was the process. It was the journey. It was the idea of making that big parrot appear at the end of the act. It was
Hmm.
not the filming. It was not the judges. It was not. It was the creation of the thing that was the funniest thing.
Hmm. I wholeheartedly agree, and I think what you said was very important for people to hear about creativity, because people do get caught up. And I had a podcast called "Does This Suck?" and it was
Of course,
specifically
it
for,
sucks.
yeah, it was specifically for people who are creative, and people who are creative are their hardest, on themselves, and they
Oh
keep
yeah.
looking at it and go, is this bad? Does this suck? And it doesn't, but they don't know, because they only know their own stuff, and they look at it over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where they're daunted, because without that feedback from people, they're working in a vacuum, and you need that feedback. And I had a similar school experience where my teachers turned me off to writing entirely. Right, my journey into writing happened recently, because
Hmm.
I was never good enough. I I was caught between two bookends. One bookend was, you have to write like all the dead guys wrote, Edgar Allan Poe and everyone else. You have to write like they write, and oh no,
Hmm.
you don't have to write like that. In fact, you have to be as good as them. But to be as good as them, you have to break all the rules they broke.
Mm.
But you're not allowed to, because you're still alive. So
Yeah.
until you hit it big, you can't break any of these rules. So I was totally turned off. I thought, well, I can't express myself, because when I express myself, I bend and break rules. And if I can't do that, I write terribly. So I can't. So then I just gave up and I lost interest for quite some time. And only recently did I sort of find my voice again and thought, well, this is just the way that this is the way I want to tell a story. And I learned a valuable lesson with that. So.
Yeah, and I think, I think life in general is a lot about breaking rules. Like if you have good intent and are kind and not hurting someone, break every rule. Every rule, just break it. They're just there to keep you in place. It's like, I think, at least with creativity, it's a lot of breaking rules. And but it doesn't have to be super huge. It doesn't. It's just like, oh, no one have done that with the card trick before. No, every good thing that I see in magic is someone has taken something and just turned it or broke it and put it up together in a different way, or it, and it doesn't have to be huge. It can play in the forum that people can. Relate to, or as you say in books, it's not, if you say the a big artist or writer broke the rules, maybe a normal you're a writer, but the normal reader wouldn't say they broke, oh, they really broke the rules. They wouldn't even notice it in that, like in that terms of breaking the rules. They would just enjoy it and like, holy shit, this book is so good. Yeah, it's because it just broke every rule there is. That's why it's good.
Right.
So I think that everything that's really good has to be bold. And then maybe it's back to that thing again of trust, of trusting the writer, trusting the reader, trusting the reader to be able to grasp the bold thing of breaking the rules. Me going in to be crazy and saying in your face to judges or whatever, that's bold. But I trust myself and I trust the audience to buy that thing. Okay, I'm bold. I do this, but you like it. Okay, it's a win-win. You like it. If I hadn't done that, breaking those rules, you wouldn't have liked it as much. But you're totally true that I think that everyone in your position and my position has been fighting against that. Like, stick to the rules, stick to the rules, stick to the rules.
Right, then
But
you can't stand out.
yeah, but then when you like, no, I'm not sticking to the rules. I'm doing this and this, and then when you get some kind of recognition or something, everyone says. I recently realized that when I grew up, everyone said like, "Okay, you have to change. You have to change. You have to be like anyone else. You have to play by the rules. Please change, Hakan. Please change." And I did not, because I always tried to do the opposite what people said to me. But now people say, Hakan, never change, never change. Be who you are. Because I'm breaking the rules and I'm bold and I'm doing this. But now I'm like, maybe I should change. Because they say that I shouldn't change. So maybe I should change now because I like to do the opposite.
Right.
But what I was thinking or wanting to point out to the listeners is creativity is for everyone. And you are doing it all the time. It's problem solving is creativity. So it's for everyone, and use it. It's for you. Use it. Write something, think, and you don't have to write it on paper. Write it in your head. Whatever. Do something. It's and I think a lot of people are creative, but they don't think it in that. But it's exactly the same way as when you write your books or I do my magic or comedy things. We are doing the exact same as some parents are doing when they're trying to create a schedule for the kids or the vacation or whatever. It's the same thing. We're trying. We have a problem. We try to solve it.
That's exactly right. I 100% agree with that. The creativity is everything. Creativity is everywhere and anything and everything.
And people, for everyone. And for everyone.
Yes.
And if you can use it and enjoy it, it's even more enjoyable, because a lot of people maybe are creative when they're forced to. We have to come up with this vacation plan or schedule for the kids and drive them here and do this and whatever. But if you look at it more like, okay, let's be creative. Let's think about this. Okay, yeah, this is good. Yeah, now I'm creating. I'm not just problem solving, because there will always be problems to solve. Just talk about it like being creative. Like, so, and also if you want to come up with surprises, you want to surprise a friend or a partner or whoever, be creative. It doesn't have to be super big things. It can be, and I'm not saying that you are not, but look at it like you are as creative as artists or writers or musicians. It's the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, even the tiniest little thing can catch someone's attention, which is sort of how we connected. So I
Exactly.
appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, the big things in life are small, so and the big things are small. So what we think is big is the small things. We think that it's super important to get that job or succeed with that. It's not super important. The super important thing is to call your mother or to have a good cup of coffee. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. And speaking of big things, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, but you were telling me that you are actually doing sort of a drive for Ukraine. Did you want to talk about that at all? That you had
Yeah,
sort of a fundraiser?
me and a friend just felt that we have a mutual friend that has a organization where they collect clothes and food and stuff and drive down to Ukraine with it in buses. And they pick people up and take them to Sweden for, we don't know, of course, for how long, but to yeah, so what we decided is we're going to do a show, and the money we get from the tickets are going to that organization. So it's also,
Wonderful.
we want to do a nice evening, because I think we will name the show There Must Be Light. There Must Be Light, because the song If I Can Dream by Elvis Presley is it's a song that's about the situation we are in now, even with the pandemic, of course, and also now the war in Ukraine, is that it is shitty and it's dark and we don't know the ending of anything, but there must still be light. We
Mm,
must still have
excellent.
laughter. We must still have empathy and sympathy, and we need it even more. So, and that goes back to what we talked about before. Like we need the laughter to be able to stand the hard parts also.
Wow.
So, but sadly, that is a lot of thing. The first thing to go when when you are in a dramatic situation, like, okay, we have to solve it, and that is of course how it is and should be. But I also think that when we do this show, that we will take all the ticket money and give to this organization, and that is just it's a tiny thing in the whole thing, of course, but it's also for the people who's there to show that we have to give even more love and empathy and light now. So,
Well, that's well said. Well said. Yeah, and it's wonderful that you're doing that too. And I'll put a link in the article that comes along with the podcast, and when I post this as well, so that people can see that. I'm sure that just visiting you as well, I'll have all the links to all your goodies, Instagram and so forth, or wherever else you'd like me to link to, so that people can find you and find the show and make sure that they participate.
mhm. Yeah, and I think that the essence of what we've been talking about in a way is like we have all this drama, and I like the saying that life comes with drama and darkness. Our goal and mission is to get to shed some light on it, right? So, and also with that, we talked a lot about laughter, and of course that's quite obvious that that is nice to laugh, but also with the creativity and create and have fun and spice up our lives. And I'm not better at this than anyone. I'm not saying that. This is not a lecture about that. I'm just saying that even I, who are a creative person, and I make my living out of that, has to think about this, like to enjoy, to create, and and I think we have that in common, everyone. For me, it's always been more important to look at what we have in common, because it is the big things we have in common. We are different. Everyone is different, and we have different in culture. We have differences, but the things we have in common is much much bigger than the differences.
Yes, yes, and sometimes people forget that.
Yeah, because forget. I think it's once again they are a bit afraid. I think it's easier to be afraid than to
Oh,
trust.
oh, right, right, exactly. To put those shields back up and so forth, and
Yeah, and then it
to
goes
build
back
that
to
wall.
what you said a while back here, when you said that r- try to enjoy and take in what you get. Like if it is that dish that they done something extra on, or if it is that whatever it is, like when it's a more light than darkness, right?
Yes.
Enjoy it, and also show your appreciation for it, like what we said. If you see some seek up something funny, or if you get something that is a more extra, it is something that gives you more positivity or gives you more than it take, show it, and also remind yourself that, oh, this is nice. This is not, as I said, like, oh, having this cup of coffee out in the sun. Oh, it doesn't get much better than this. No, you have to say that. Like,
Right.
and once again, this is not a lecture. I know that I hopefully you do this, but this is at least my thinking. And if this would be in a lecture, I could lecture about how to, what you said before, how to be funny and do magic at the same time. Holy shit. Oh, that's what I do. But I love these things, like the common things we have together, everyone.
Well, yeah, I think it's huge, and I've really enjoyed our deep dive into philosophy, because I think this is a philosophical subject. Laughter is philosophical, and making people feel good, and creativity. I mean, it's such a huge thing. And then now we were just talking about, gratitude is essentially what we're talking about now, and just being grateful and appreciating something. And you can really see someone brighten up if you just show appreciation for the effort that they put into something.
Absolutely. And also, maybe this is so close to my heart because I've been fighting with it. And I've been a person who's thought that if I come to this level, if I work super hard and get to this level, I can enjoy and appreciate. It's not about that. It's not about it's not about what you get or what you have. It's about how you look at it and how you, as I said, it can be that. It doesn't have to be that your own TV series. It can be that coffee,
Mm-hmm.
really can be, but that doesn't have to exclude the TV series because of that. But that, if you think about it, like, oh, that would be nice, as I said before, for the creative part, and it would be fun to do something that I like. But to enjoy things is to enjoy things. It's not that it's not where you are, what you get, is how you look at it and how you take it. And once again, I'm working with this, but it is a reminder, I think, and it's a good reminder that we should try to be humble and enjoy the things that we might think is small, because we have that big goal that we want. But it can be, that laughter in the cafeteria or laughter with your partner, that is the highlight of that, the whole everything, really.
Yeah, and it can leave a massive lasting mark on you, even though it might have been the tiniest little laugh in the car or something. That can be something that is like a prominent memory that you keep forever, as
Yeah.
opposed to the 3 weeks of hard work you put into something else that just didn't really impact you in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you look at it the other way around, if I do my acts or my show and I get people to laugh really good and nice and they are present, I'm only doing what you say what could happen in a car with a friend. Like, they would
Right.
laugh and enjoy that as much in a way. But yeah, it is big. I'm not saying it is small, but that's the power of the thing. The only thing I can do on stage, being with my act, um, worked years and years and years to be able to do something for 5 minutes, and the only thing I can do, you can do in the cafeteria with a
Mhm.
friend.
Mhm.
So it is huge.
Yeah, it's about the impact versus the thing. It's
Yeah,
the end result.
exactly.
Huh. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff. I don't want to keep you longer than you have. So I've already taken an hour of your time. And so if you'd like to continue, we can. But otherwise, I will let you go. If you'd like, it's up to you.
No, I'm more afraid that people will think it's too philosophical, or
Oh.
something. But I think that I, as I said, it is deep, but it's only deep to make it fun. I tend to look at it that way. That I try to handle deep thoughts and life in general, just to be able to laugh more. So
Mhm.
that is,
Well,
it's my goal
I
is
think.
not to be like a deep person. I just dealing with that to be able to laugh more.
Well, I think that's the paradox, is that if you were just flippant about what you did, it would show. But because you put so much time and deep thought about it, the end product is so much better. And like I said, I see the effort into it. Like when I saw you, uh, I didn't see you on stage because I wasn't present, but I mean, I saw your performances and so forth. I saw all the effort that went into that. I didn't just see what you were doing. I saw all the effort that went into behind the scenes to make that work properly. So I think it is the paradox of deep thinking makes something that seems so silly.
Yeah, it makes me super glad to hear that, because that is my goal. Yeah, it's worth every deep thought I've
Mm-hmm.
had, if that is how it works.
And it does. And I think it works really well.
Yeah, and I once again, I think that a lot of people can, in a way, if they think about it, relate to that, like what you're saying, that the deep thoughts and the working we do to have that small glimpses of light and fun, it's worth it, and it shows.
Right. And getting back to something you said before, where you had not a fear, but an aversion to maybe not being philosophical and thinking people might not like that. People love that. People, I can speak for people and who've listened to this, because that's why they come back. It's so much nicer to hear that sort of thing than just a 1 hour commercial for a product.
Yeah. Yeah.
People want to hear that you're a human being. They want to hear that you have failures, and that they want to hear that you might be nervous in doing something and you tried something, and so on and so forth. And to know that there is a lot of philosophy behind it, and there is, and how laughter works in something, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I think so too. And I said it a lot of times now, but I think that we are so alike, people, in what we how we function and react. And maybe people listening to this will realize that they are not the only one who are crazy.
Right, exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
also
I mean,
crazy.
no, yeah. I mean, just not feeling alone, right? I mean, that's you think that was the amazing thing about the internet, is all these people connected, but sometimes it makes people feel more alone, especially
Yeah.
when people on, let's say, Instagram or whatever, they only take pictures of all their beautiful food and their happy vacation, when there's a lot of moments in between those things that aren't so great and so forth. So they think, well, I don't have these beautiful moments I can post, so my life must not be as
Oh
great as
yeah.
someone else's.
Oh yeah. That's a big mistake that a lot of people do, and me too. And as you say, it's the inflation of that is huge. You
Hmm.
think that everyone has so much easier and nicer. Like, it's. I'm not saying it has to be super bad, but things are not the way it looks.
Right, right.
And that's okay. The bad part with it is it's okay. It's life. It's even a part of the good things with life, that is not just fine and dandy all the time, right? But the bad part with that is that if you think that there is a way that it could be fine and dandy all the time, but that it wouldn't even be that if it would be that all the time. It's like having an orgasm for years. It doesn't feel good then. It just lasts for a while. So
Seek
that's why.
medical attention.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's. I think it's a big part of enjoying life is that to realize that it has those parts, and also that to be satisfied is to realize that you will never be completely satisfied.
Right. Well, my take on it is the chocolate chip cookie. That the thing that makes the chocolate chip cookie so awesome is not the chocolate chips, but the cookie in between, so that you appreciate when you hit the chocolate chips versus
Yeah.
just having a giant handful of chocolate chips. It's not the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
the it is that's also when you create, also again, we have to do the hard parts and the things that doesn't end up in the show or on the paper, because that is the cookie in between
Mhm.
the chocolate. So it is. I think that the essence of this is our talk is, yeah, we should seek the fun and we should accept the things in between. Just keep seeking for those chocolate pieces in
Right.
whatever you do and whatever you want to do.
Right, exactly. And people forget that life is cyclical. I mean, you have a down and then you have an up, and when you have an up, you have a down. And the joke the joke that I've made is that, people are jump to remind you that there's going to be a positive, but they forget to remind
Yeah,
you that there's
yeah,
going to be a negative
yeah,
because they don't
yeah.
need to. So if you're having a really bad day, they'll be, "Oh, don't worry, tomorrow will be better." But if you say, "Oh, Betty, I just met the love of my life," they don't say, "Well,
Mm,
tomorrow might be a crappy day. Maybe it won't work out."
yeah.
They don't say that,
Yeah,
but that's true.
totally, totally. I'm sad to say it, but I am the kind of friend who will say like, "Yeah, I met this super nice guy or girl on Tinder. Oh, super, 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 super nice." I will be the friend who say, "But it sounds a bit too nice, right?"
Right. Yeah. Sounds
So
too good to be true. I wouldn't get
yeah,
too happy. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But people, on a serious note, people do forget that. In fact, there was someone on Instagram that I didn't even know, but she had posted something about being in a slump. And I wrote something to her to say, well, don't worry. Life is cyclical. Don't worry about it. Everyone gets in a slump and you'll eventually get out of it. So don't beat yourself up. And she wrote back and she said, "Oh my God, I really needed to hear that." And just to
mm.
think that just a random comment from someone like me could just sort of make such a big impact on someone because no one's saying that. You know what I mean? It's because people forget
That
that.
that's exactly what we've been talking about. What you did there, that small thing that did so much. That is magic for me.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. And you are an expert on magic, so that's good.
You can quote me on that.
I will quote you on many things in this conversation. Absolutely. So if is there anything else you'd like to give a shout out about, or let us know that there's going to be a new performance besides the one that you mentioned?
No, I'm fine. You can take questions from listeners and we can answer them. But I think we. For me, it's hard to say because I like to talk about things I like myself. So it's hard to. But maybe that's the whole meaning with this too. But I really like to share my, hopefully, the passion for the creativity and that, as I said before, it is for everyone. And the thing you said, that yes, throwing out that comment like, yeah, it is a shitty part of your life now, but it will be good. It will turn
Mhm.
around. To do that, do it. Take those chances. Take those chances, because then you are doing more than I can do with shows that I've been working on for 25 years. You can create that. So yeah.
Yeah, it really is a cool thing to be impactful in someone and not to realize it, right? Just like I'm sure there are people who come up to you after your show and tell you how they laughed and how much that you made their day or their week or what have you.
Mhm. But I always try to take that in and realize how big it is. I'm the day when I will not like take that in and say thank you. That makes me
Mhm.
really glad. That day is a sad day. It is a big
Right.
thing, and I try to remind myself every time, like this is big. And I'm saying that because exactly what you did there. and what people, listeners, are doing to their friends, partners, kids, whatever. It is big things, it's magic. So do it and also enjoy the effect of it, I think.
Awesome. I think this has been filled with fantastic advice, actually, which probably people listening to it probably weren't expecting that. But I think we've covered quite a bit of things, and I'm slightly embarrassed to tell you that you mentioned taking questions. This is recorded, so I'd love to be able to take questions, but I can't. So people will be hearing this after the fact. I would love to plan a live thing. I'd be happy to have you back if you want to do something like that too. So to take questions, but typically,
let's do that. Let's do a part 2 where we just trying to unwind the philosophy parts, and people have maybe questions or thoughts, or let's decide that right now.
Oh, I think that's a fantastic idea. People can then sort of listen to this and kind of be primed up for it, and then the questions that are generated, they can approach us with. That sounds like a wonderful idea. I will make that happen, sir.
So part 2, stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned for part 2. Fantastic. I love that. You have to get the little ellipses at the end, ... so that people know something exciting is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was planning to say thank you. It was super nice, and thank you, and let's answer the questions in part 2, right?
That sounds good. And so I want to thank you too for your time. This has been really wonderful. It's been such a fun experience. It's so nice to delve into philosophical things like this. It just really is. And I think there's much more of and I don't want to say market as in purchasing, but there's just much more of an openness market for people to want to hear things like this, because this is the kind of conversation people get when they sit next to each other and have some wine or a beer or a martini or what have you. This is where the conversation typically goes.
Yeah, I totally agree. So no, it is, even if you talk about deep and philosophical things. That's what I said before. I do that to be able to laugh more, enjoy more. I feel now, after talking about this, I feel uplifted. Right? It's like, oh yeah,
wonderful.
This is, even if we talk about, like, we even touched the pandemic and the war and everything, but if you do it with the right perspective, it can help you. So help us, I should say.
Yes. Wonderful. That's exactly right. I'm so glad you feel uplifted. I do the same. And it's interesting that you can have a discussion or a performance and you can feel drained or you can feel energized.
Yeah. Super nice. So let's talk again in part 2.
That sounds good. Well, thank you so much. I will let you go, and you have an awesome time, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, you too. Nice to talk. Bye-bye.
Hey there, real quick before you stop. If you made it all the way to the end in this and you like this, we actually are going to take questions. Hakan has agreed to a part 2. So he thinks it'd be really fun to do a part 2 since we talked about all this philosophical stuff. So if you have any questions at all from him, about him, philosophy, the philosophy of laughter, any of that stuff, you can get them to me in wherever you've seen this podcast posted. Now, if you're listening to it on your podcast software, then there's no way to communicate that way. So you can look on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and connect with me. My connection information is always part of this. So send your questions and then we will present these questions to him in the second part of this. So that's kind of cool.